the thunder of thousands of marching feet. Across the northern frontier of Yorubaland, an unstoppable army was advancing. Village after village fell. Warriors who resisted were cut down. Families abandoned their homes as smoke rose into the sky. For years, the Fulani forces from Ilorin had pushed deeper into Yoruba territory, defeating kingdoms that once believed they could never fall. Now, only one great city stood between them and the heart of Yorubaland: Osogbo. If Osogbo fell, nothing would stop the invasion. The roads to the rich kingdoms of the south would be open. An entire civilization stood on the edge of destruction. But as fear spread across the land, messengers raced from kingdom to kingdom. Old enemies laid down their differences. Powerful war chiefs gathered their armies. The fate of Yorubaland would not be decided by one king. It would be decided by one battle, one battlefield, one final stand. This is the incredible story of the Battle of Òṣogbo. For years, the Fulani forces from Ilorin had been marching deeper into Yorubaland. Town after town fell before them. Villages were burned. Families fled. Fear spread across the land. Now, their eyes were fixed on Osogbo. If the city fell, the road to southern Yorubaland would be left wide open. The people knew what was at stake. This was no longer just another invasion. It was a fight for survival. Messengers rode across Yorubaland, calling for help, and one by one, the greatest Yoruba war leaders answered the call. The battle that would decide the future of Yorubaland was about to begin. The call for help echoed across Yorubaland, and the warriors came from Ibadan, from Egbaland, from neighboring kingdoms determined to stop the invasion. Leading them was one of Yorubaland's greatest commanders, Balogun Ògúnmọla. He knew this battle was different. Defeat would not only cost them Osogbo, it could cost them all of Yorubaland. So instead of waiting behind the city walls, he marched his warriors forward. The two armies were now closing in on each other. Soon, the ground outside Osogbo would become one of the bloodiest battlefields in Yoruba history. As the allied Yoruba army advanced, the Fulani forces were already waiting. Thousands of warriors faced each other across the open plains near Osogbo. The air was silent. Then, the war drums began to beat. War horns echoed across the battlefield. Spears were raised. Swords were drawn. There would be no retreat, only victory or death, with a thunderous battle cry. Both armies charged. The Battle of Òṣogbo had begun. The battlefield erupted into chaos. Spears flew through the air. Swords clashed against shields. War cries drowned out every other sound. For hours, neither side gave way. The Fulani cavalry charged again and again, but the Yoruba warriors held their ground. Then, Balogun Ògúnmọla saw an opening. He ordered a fierce counterattack. The Yoruba army surged forward with everything they had. The battle had finally begun to turn. The Fulani lines began to break. Their attacks grew weaker. Their warriors started falling back. The Yoruba army refused to slow down. They pushed forward with relentless force. What had begun as a desperate defense had become a crushing victory. By sunset, the battlefield belonged to the Yoruba. The Fulani army retreated toward Ilorin. For the first time in years, the invasion had been stopped. But the victory meant far more than winning a single battle. The victory at Osogbo changed everything. The Fulani advance into southern Yorubaland had been stopped. The fear that had haunted countless towns began to fade. Hope returned. The victory united kingdoms that had once stood divided. It proved that when Yoruba warriors fought as one, they could defeat even the greatest threat. From that day on, the Battle of Òṣogbo was remembered as more than a victory. It became the battle that saved Yorubaland forever. The Battle of Òṣogbo was more than a clash of armies. It was the day Yorubaland refused to fall, a day when courage defeated fear, when unity overcame division, and when the fate of an entire people was decided on one battlefield.
If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Every subscription helps us bring more of Africa's forgotten stories back to life. This is History of Ancestors, where Africa's greatest stories live again. Until next time, keep history alive.